Welcome to Dance Fit Biz Builders. I'm Orit, dancer, instructor, and proud owner of a thriving belly dance fitness business. And in this podcast, I'm giving it to you straight, sharing what it takes to kickstart and grow your dance and fitness business for the success you deserve. Whether you're a seasoned instructor, a passionate performer, or dreaming of turning your love for dance and fitness into a thriving career, you're in the right place. Lace up those sneakers and pull on those dance shoes and get ready for truth smacks, tips, and inspiration. Let's do this. Hey there, and welcome to episode 55 of the Dance Fit Biz Builders podcast. I'm Orit, your host, and in this episode, I'm bringing you something special from the vault. This is a throwback episode interview from 2016, back when the Bellydance Business Academy was in full swing with the incredible Terri Allred. And the topic is bridging into the fitness world. And trust me, this conversation is still relevant as ever. I still talk about it. So if you're a belly dance pro, a dance pro, considering to leap into fitness, or just curious about blending art and athletics in a way that works and in a way that makes you more marketable, this episode is packed with both inspiration and practical, tried and true strategies. So let's dive into this timeless conversation right here on the Dance Fit Biz Builders podcast.
So today we are talking with Orit. Orit has over 20 years experience as a fitness instructor and grew up in the art form of belly dance. She is, as I said, the founder and owner of Sharkey Fitness, and Sharkey has been around since 2000. They are in many countries and have over 100 instructors. So it's been a very, very successful endeavor, and Orit has taught classes in the U.S. and Japan. She's been featured on all the major news networks: ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, just to name a few. She has the titles of Belly Dancer of the Year, Jewel of the Nile, Entertainer of the Year, and Middle Eastern Dance Champion of North America. We are thrilled to have you, Orit. Orit is one of our regular Belly Dance Business Academy instructors. I'm not sure we can put that up with your other awards, but it's notable.
Absolutely.
Oh, so welcome. So Orit is going to talk to us today about entering the fitness world from a belly dance teacher's perspective. We're going to talk about how a belly dance fitness class is different than a traditional dance class, what belly dance teachers need in order to move into belly dance fitness, how lesson planning is different for a fitness class, and how to position a belly dance fitness class in the age of Zumba and other dance fitness formats. That's the one that I'm the most interested in answering. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a full session of information for you. So let's start just by, Orit, could you tell us a little bit about how you came to create Sharkey Fitness? I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey.
So pretty much I was pushed into it. I am from New York City, and I was a contemporary dancer in New York, and I was supplementing my living as a fitness instructor. Uh-huh. And at Gold's Gym, we had an instructor meeting, and the director was like, all right, guys, we've got to up student retention. We've got to bring more people into classes. Give me some exciting ideas that you can teach. And I immediately said, hey, belly dance fitness. His eyes lit up, and he's like, great, you teach next week. And I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, I knew I could pull it off, but because I'm a fitness instructor, but I didn't think I was just educated enough in the belly dance part. Although it is part of my culture, and I have belly danced throughout my life and with the women in my family, I just knew the 10 core moves, Yeah. But so that prompted me to then just get more educated about it. I did take classes in Israel, but I wanted to get more educated about it in the States. And so I did. So first I was watching dance fitness at other clubs that I taught at. And in the mid-late to late 90s, and I'm showing my age here, yeah, Latin aerobics became a really big craze. And this was a little bit before Zumba. And I noticed that these gyms were hiring ballroom dancers, salsa dancers. And I noticed when they were teaching, they weren't structuring it like a fitness class. No warm up, no peak, no cool down. And then I noticed these fitness enthusiasts were walking out of class, just kind of pissed off. And New Yorkers, they don't have a poker face. I was like, there is the gap. That's how I can set myself apart from everybody else. So I continued this research and this education, and I took week-long workshops in New York City. And specifically, one comes to mind. I took from her, and what was hard for me is that she wasn't watching her class. Mm. And I'm from the school of thought of like modern dance, and where technique, and the director's watching you, the choreographer's watching you, and they're always correcting. So it was hard for me not to be corrected and not to be watched. So that was one thing. I'm like, I gotta watch my people. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, she wasn't able to break it down, and I'm going to be completely specific how that trigger point for me was, right. We were doing a shimmy across the floor. I believe she might have called it a grapevine or something like that. And we had one foot on the floor, kind of like marching on your toes. Yeah. And she said, okay, shimmy your hips. And I was kind of struggling with that because I needed a little bit more guidance. And I said, so how are you doing this? She goes, you just shake your butt. What does that mean to me? So I said, like this, and I was literally shaking my butt, and I looked like an idiot, and I wasn't her the rest of the class. And she's like, yeah, like that. And I was like, something is wrong here. She's not able to explain what anatomically is truly happening and how I should be moving. So there was the other gap. I got to really, really break this stuff down for fitness enthusiasts. And that's what prompted me to create Sharky.
Wow. It's a great story. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing it. Absolutely. I think it's such a unique perspective because many people start as belly dance instructors and then realize they need to turn some of their classes, at least, into fitness classes to be able to teach and get the idea across in their community, almost like to speak a language that everybody else understands in order to introduce them to belly dance. So I love, and I think that's part of the reason Sharky's been so successful, is that you came at this from both perspectives, but as a trained fitness instructor.
Correct. This way of teaching not only is great for the fitness enthusiast, but it's great for the belly dance instructor to learn because you're going to get all types in your classes and they all learn a different way. So you've got to have like these trigger words, these ways to explain things in your back pocket.
And I think, I know I was raised in a ballet background. And so you did your warm up and then you listened to the teacher and then you did your moves and then you listened to the teacher and then you got corrected and then you did your moves, so it's very much a dance class structure. And when I first started teaching in fitness centers, even though I was teaching a belly dance class, they needed me to structure it more like a fitness class. And I just didn't know how to do that. So I wasn't even teaching belly dance fitness, but the audience was wanting something different than what I was giving them. And I didn't have the tools to do it. So even if you're not going to go and teach a quote belly dance fitness class, the information that Orit has to offer is really valuable for any belly dance class you're teaching. Okay. So you were working at the gym, they encouraged you, but I assume at some point then you decided to take the show on the road, so to speak. So how did other fitness clubs react once you kind of got the Sharky format developed and started taking it out and about? How did that go?
Okay, so in 2000, I finally tweaked it and I formulated Sharky, and then in 2005 it became incorporated. But when I was shopping around between 2000 and 2002 to other gyms, they were not keen on just taking me on because they've already had belly dance instructors in there that were kind of flopped. Yeah.
Right.
So I had to really persuade them, and I had to maybe even offer a free class or show them some demo moves to show them how different this is, and just to really show off my fitness expertise. But once I did that, they loved it, and they especially loved it because I got Sharkey accredited by 2 fitness associations, which is I'm telling you, Terri, back in the early 2000s, it was so incredibly hard to do. Now it's not hard anymore. It was hard to persuade the fitness industry that dance can be fitness. Oh my God, I have to tell you, it was so hard. So getting it finally approved, I was like, yes. And then from there, I then became a fitness presenter where I'm teaching fitness professionals, my fitness colleagues, how to do what I do.
Yeah.
So it's a great reaction from the clubs eventually.
Yeah. And so is that what made Sharkey credible to the fitness clubs, was that you had a fitness background, you had the accreditations, or was there another element to that?
Well, I think what made me more credible was the proof. The proof that people were coming to my classes, they were full. That was the first thing. And then just getting accredited was just, the icing on the cake.
Right. And this was really before, just to look at the kind of historical in the U.S., at least, the dance fitness stuff. So jazzercise had been around, but Zumba hadn't hit yet. So there was at least some exposure in the fitness world and then, like you said, the salsa, the kind of Latin aerobics kind of had been going on, but it was really that Zumba craze that just kind of knocked everything out of the park. It was pre that. So just to make sure everybody understands historically the context, maybe you would have taken a jazzercise class or an aerobics class, but something like this just really had never been done well before. Okay, well, thank you. I think it's really helpful for people to hear a little bit about your history and your journey and how you created Sharkey, so that way they understand better the tips and suggestions that you're going to give them today. So let's now think a little bit about what at its core is the difference between a belly dance class and a belly dance fitness class.
Okay. Quite a few things. First and foremost, when you walk into belly dance fitness class, it's a different type of atmosphere. So it's like you're walking into a fitness class. The music is boom, 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 like, it's club music, but with Arabic tones overlaying it.
Yep.
It's continuous music. It's 32 count fitness music. Yeah, that means 8 counts, 4 phrases of 8 counts. That's very, very fitness. The teacher, the way she is teaching, there's cueing involved. Her voice is different, or his voice. It's a little bit more boot campy, or at least, it should be.
Yeah.
But attention is not paid to technique when it comes to a fitness class.
Yeah.
So it's more like the teacher can't care about, are they really getting it right? It's more about just kind of move your body, get a feel for what North African, Middle Eastern movement feels like. But you want to just do it enough so that they're not going to get hurt. You want to pay attention enough so they're not going to get hurt. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of talk. I know there's sometimes a lot of chitter chatter with belly dance.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's it. Just longer movement series, and just people want to go in and dance. So, like at the end of the class, you have like one big fitness belly dance choreography. Now, with traditional belly dance classes, there's a lot more attention paid to technique. There's talking. It's a slower pace. The music varies in its rhythms, in its tempos. There's a lot of stop-go. There's talk about culture, about history, possibly. Also, the way the class is presented is different. And again, every belly dance class is different. Usually with a belly dance class, you might see a series, a 6-week series or an 8-week series. Whereas belly dance fitness, it's like drop-in classes at a gym. Anybody can come. And it's continuous, consistent.
Right. Yeah. So talk a little bit more about the technique part. This is the thing that always gets me. And I'm actually certified in two of the Zumba formats, but I can't teach it because it drives me crazy not to correct people's posture and technique. I just can't do it. And I finally learned that about myself and accepted it, and it's okay. But so talk a little bit about the whole tech. So we're not teaching technique in a fitness class. We don't want people to injure themselves. So how does Sharkey handle, like keeping it moving, keeping it fast, but yet making sure people aren't throwing their backs out or whatever? Kind of what's your thing?
I'm so excited that you asked me that, because people always ask me that. Can I just tell you? Okay, I'm super excited. And this is what I realized with Sharkey.
Yeah.
Lock in. People don't know. These fitness people don't know. I sneak it in and they don't know.
Wow.
And how I sneak it in is that it's all in the breakdown. Because when you break down a sequence, you've got to break it down move by move, and you have to move. There you go. There is a technique. And so belly dancers, you don't have to worry. In the Sharkey training, this is what you learn. It's all about breaking it down and building it up. So is there a technique? Your question is, how do you do it? That's how you do it, with the breakdown.
Well, see, that would not drive me crazy. I could do that. I could absolutely do that. And I think that I don't know, I hate to take my own experience and generalize it onto other dance teachers, but that is one of the biggest obstacles to me doing dance fitness classes, is that concern about people's safety and body. And, and that's one of the reasons I can't take Zumba classes is if I'm watching anybody, I was like, like the whole time worried about their knees or their back or their, whatever it is that they're contorting.
Yeah.
So I don't know there is a barrier for other dance instructors, but I think that's great that you have that set up so that when you're doing the breakdowns of the movements, people can get the technique that they need. Absolutely. So tell us, if you will, a little bit about what does the fitness enthusiast want that might be different from the belly dance enthusiast?
They want to go in and out, get their sweat on, and go back to work. That's it. Give it to them. Talk about what muscles you are initiating with, what muscles you're working, where you should be feeling it. No chit chat, please. That's it. Just in and out, get their sweat on, and they're happy.
Okay, so I think that's another thing. Like for me, for sure, that would be hard to do. Yeah. Cool. That's good. That helps me imagine a little bit more what it would be like to go into that experience.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So when you transition from a belly dance class to a belly dance fitness class, can it still be authentic belly dance? What kind of how do you think of that? I know you talked about playing music, like, more like Arabic club music, which is still authentic because it's still very much played. So what are other ways that it can still be authentic?
Well, as far as the movement, like in Sharkey, all the moves are authentic. And some people feel like, oh, you can't make it authentic. You absolutely can. And what I'm doing is simply taking authentic moves and just squaring them off musically. Yeah, because with belly dance music, it's sometimes a little syncopated, or you do a turn that's kind of quick, slow, and there's a little bit more resonance. Here, you just do one turn in one musical beat. It's still a belly dance turn, but just with a different musical phrasing. That's all it is.
Yeah.
In that regard, you can do all belly dance moves in a fitness structure, but it's just the way how you musically structure it. Okay, so it can be authentic. As far as music, and you can use Arabic pop music, which is definitely authentic, like you had just said. Sometimes I like to do maybe a little mini belly dance choreo for like 10 minutes at the end of the class, just to give them a taste of what it looks like and what it's about. But I'm glad you brought this up. Just let me know if I'm going off on a tangent.
No, it's great.
So with fitness enthusiasts who come and take a Sharkey class, I noticed that at the 6 to the 9 month mark that they've been with me, then they start asking, so Ari, I want to learn a little more belly dance. I want to see what it really looks like. Yeah. That's when I start to do those little mini choreographies at the end. And And then I talk about a little bit more about the culture, even though I do here and there within the fitness. Yeah. And then I just sort of like sneak it in here and there to make them happy. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so interesting because, this whole summit is on teaching. So I've gotten to talk to a lot of really amazing teachers about how they teach and their strategies. And we're sharing all that with everybody in the summit. And several people have talked about, the idea of giving people what they think they want until they start asking about what you maybe want to talk about in the first place.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And it's kind of like sliding the technique in. I've talked with several people about how do you name your classes and how do you market to the people who you want to actually come and the language that you use. And that's so important to use the language. And even you talked about that fitness enthusiasts want to sweat. They want cardio. They want aerobic. And so even it's not just about how you set up your classes, but it's about how you tell people about your classes. You want to use those words so that people understand what they're getting.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's kind of get into the nuts and bolts. Okay, so now you have an understanding of how Orit did this, a little more knowledge about Sharkey, but the point is it's very accessible to people who, no matter where, we've got people from all over the world watching this summit, and no matter where you are, you can access Orit's knowledge, you can access her program, and be able to implement it in your community, because we're telling you tips and tricks, but if you don't want to, you don't have to reinvent the wheel on this.
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's move into the actual practical. So what do belly dance teachers need, both in their own training and the way that they set up their classes? What do belly dance teachers need in order to move into the fitness world?
What would be ideal is if you're able to get a group fitness certification. That would be ideal. That would set you up so you can learn how to structure your own belly dance fitness class. Mm-hmm. The reason why I'm saying that, because with group fitness, and really show you how to structure the warm up and the peak and the cool down and what moves really get the heart rate up. So I think that would be the first thing. If you don't want to get fitness certified, of course, take Sharkey. I help you with that. And then again, if you're doing it on your own, think about choosing moves that get your heart rate up. Mm-hmm. Think about moves or linking moves that would be great so that you can create one long routine, if not an hour, at least 30 minutes. Yeah. Some belly dance instructors, belly dance fitness instructors like to simulate Zumba, where there's 5 mini choreographies or 6 mini choreographies. And I get that whole thing because if someone doesn't like a certain move, at least they know in the next song they're going to do something different. And the whole retaining all that information. The thing, though, with how I teach it is I teach based on the add-on method. So it's one long choreography. We do a sequence, drill it, and then you add it from the top. And what's great about that is you're always drilling, you're working on the technique on the same move, and you're retaining it. So it's the skill of picking movement up and remembering it. Mm-hmm. So also play around with music. Music is a motivator. Play around using pop music or club music. See what comes up from there.
Yes. Yeah. So that's really interesting. As I said, I have done the 2 Zumba certifications, and for those who've taken a Zumba class, which probably everybody has at least one, you remember that each song has a different kind of little choreography. And every time you do that song, you do the same choreography. And so people begin to associate the movements with the music. And then you have some songs where you've got moderate heart rate, some songs where you've got a higher heart rate, yada, yada. So, but this is really interesting, and I didn't realize this, that Sharkey is based on add-ons. So really, does that mean kind of the music is interchangeable and you you continue to add on what you're doing. And so they don't necessarily connect the music with the movements, but the movements can go across different music. Do you see what I'm asking?
Yes, ma'am. Where it's not like music mapping with Zumba. Here, it's because you're using 32 count beats, phrasing. If you use any kind of fitness move music, if it's African, it's a traditional body sculpt music. If it's 32 counts, you can belly dance, do Sharkey to it.
Okay,
so
cool.
Vary the music and
Yeah. So I think that's really good for belly dance instructors because that's what we're used to doing. So just, I think I kind of come from the perspective of many who are belly dance instructors, maybe have done fitness classes or, Zumba certified, but not AFA or ACE certified. And so I think that translates well to a belly dance instructor because that's what we do in our traditional belly dance classes. We teach combo, we add to the combo. We start with the feet, then we add the hips, then we add the arms or whatever. So I really like that because it's less foreign if you're trying to make that switch over from one to the other.
And you're absolutely right, Terri. And another thing, now it's even less work because with Zumba and other those type of formats, you have to learn the music.
Mm-hmm.
So when the chorus comes in and this and that, whereas here, stick on any music, all you have to work on is just your choreography.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because you're building. So it's just like you do your regular classes. Yeah. Right. That's brilliant. It really is.
I just used, low impact aerobics from back in the day. It just stuck with what works.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we've got time to talk about one more thing before we end, and I would really like some thoughts about lesson planning, where even whether we're teaching a fitness class or a belly dance class, belly dance instructors love their lessons and they love their lesson planning. So can you talk to us a little bit about lesson planning in the Sharkey format as you're moving into fitness, just some things maybe that you do or things that other people could generalize?
Yeah, great question. So from a belly dancer's perspective, because I'm in both, so I'm just trying to get it. Here's what I do, because I sometimes I miss my dancing, Mm-hmm. I try to plan out my Sharkey routine based on a choreography that I've done. So I look at a choreography and then I take out all the movements used and I put them in the Sharkey method, in the format, in the Sharkey way. And that is also a great way to sort of foreshadow a choreography of what's to come, like next week or next month, because now they already have those moves under their belt. So it'll come easy to them. That's just one way how I outline. I mean, sometimes I outline my moves if it's just lower body, or I outline my moves if that week I want to do a routine that's more core focused, or one that's more arm focused.
Yeah. Okay. So you were talking about adding on. So from week to week, would you repeat the same? Like, let's say week one, I just started, and I know it's arbitrary because it's drop-in, but let's just say on any given week, you have built up, you've added on so that you're doing, 7 different moves or whatever. So then the next week, would you do something completely different or would you repeat the same thing again? How does that work from week to week?
Oh, great question. Again, it depends what type of instructor you are, and it depends on your students. So you have to assess your students. Did your students get that routine you did that week? So that may mean, got to repeat it next week.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have time to choreograph something new, sometimes what changes it up is change your music, and people know the difference. Another thing is what I like to do is I like to have a 60-minute routine choreographed, and I take 2 of those sequences out and I replace it with new ones. So this way it's not totally new. So they have a few new things and then they're familiar with others. Because remember, you want your peeps to feel successful also. Yeah. There's other classes where I teach where these people are so incredibly advanced, they need a completely new choreography every week. So again, it depends on you, the teacher. How often can you choreograph? How good are you at it? It depends on your people. You've got to assess them if they're getting it.
That's great. Thank you. That was exactly what I was wanting to know. Okay, so we are out of time for this conversation with Orit about bridging your belly dance classes into the fitness world. So thank you, Orit, for joining us. We have really enjoyed talking to you and look forward to more conversations in the future.
Awesome. Thank you.